This is the treatment plan, and if we look at the 3D view of the 3D data right here, we're going to notice that there's quite a bit of metal crowns on the right side of the patient's mouth, which is going to generate a lot of scatter. We can see where the scatter is. If we try to crop the area and look at the maxillary area only, so we can limit the 3D view to that, and we go ahead and crop it, then we can go ahead and adjust the ISO value, so we can actually try to render and see how much. Notice there's quite a bit of scatter right here that we're going to see from all this metal. So if we try to get the full root form right here, we're going to get a lot of scatter in there. So we're going to try to minimize that by trying to eliminate some of the root forms that we have in there when we render it 3D from here. So we can go ahead and generate the 3D view, and looking at the 3D view right here, we can see all that scatter that we got from the metal that's in there. Again, this represents the 3D view with all these icicles from the scatter of the metal, which will take quite a bit of time to clean up. Anyway, we are interested in the area of tooth number 8 right here. So we can see that this tooth has a root canal right in here, and it has a post, and then of course the very thin buccal plate. So you're going to be extremely careful when you extract this tooth, so we can place the implant a little bit more palatally in here, and we can achieve good initial stability as long as we get 50% of that implant into the bone. Okay, evaluating the axial slice now for root forms. I can bring this up a little bit more, zoom it, and if we go up and down here, we can see the actual position of that tooth number 8 in the 3D view. We can see the post that's in there. This is the actual area right here that's in question. Looks like number 7 had the previous implant placed there, and number 8 is the area where we are proposing to place an implant. This will represent the root form on that tooth right here. So if we look at the axial slice relative to the viewer right there, again we notice that there is a very thin buccal plate right around this yellow line that we have in here. So once again, extreme caution when this root is to be extracted, so that you do not obliterate the buccal plate. And if that happens, then you would have to graft the site, put a membrane on it, and go back and attempt to place the implant at a later stage. Once again, looking at the 3D view right here, again I'm gonna go ahead and mark the CEJs with these green dotted lines right here of the adjacent teeth. This looks like the broken post of the buildup that was under this crown right here. And if we put the perpendicular reslice in here, I'm going to put that parallel to that root. So I went ahead and made the distal angulation by about -2 degrees, and if I were to look at the 2D slice right here, notice that we have a 5.3 millimeter width of the crest of the bone and about 17 millimeters of length to anchor that implant in very strong bone. And notice if I flip this, this is the area where the nasopalatine nerve is right here, and we will definitely be trying to stay away from the nasopalatine nerve that's in there. Again, the gray map shows that this is all the black that's in here is the actual root form that's in there. All the yellow is the bone in here, and the purple is very bad quality bone. So we would like to tip that implant a little bit palatally, but not too far palatally, so we can still engage the good quality bone. So here we can propose to put a 4.3 by 13 millimeter tapered implant in there, and this is going to be placed about 3 to 4 millimeters below the crest of the bone, so we can have a nice emergence profile for our abutment. Notice that will not be a screw retained restoration, because If we tip this implant in and put it exactly where it should be, which is in this direction right here, like this, we will be going right out of the buccal plate that is right in here. So this implant has to be angled a little bit more palatally, like this. We're still within the safety zone all the way around. We can place it in such a way so that we can maximize anchorage right in the center between the buccal and the lingual plates, and then we'll have an angled abutment with a cement retained crown on top of it. This should conclude the treatment plan for the surgical treatment plan for Chuck Leon. Second option for this case would be to evaluate the possibility of placing a longer implant in there. Instead of a 4.3 by 13, we're going to place a 4.3 by 16. So what we can do is we can change the implant and look at the 16 millimeter implant and see where that would be within the safety zone. And notice again, we're still within the safety zone if we place a 16 millimeter implant in there. And this implant will probably have a much better anchorage, because we're going to get a little bit closer to the subnasal fossa in there and get some more anchorage from the subnasal fossa. So I will leave it up to you, Doc. You let me know which implant you would like to use, but a 4.3 by 13 is definitely doable. A 4.3 by 16, in my opinion, would be a much better implant, because we're going to have a much better anchorage for that tooth. And notice more than 50% of that implant right here will be in fresh new bone. If I were to just draw a line across here where the root ends, then we have a much better initial stability with a 16 millimeter implant than a 13 millimeter implant.